Live, and we are still here at Trekland HQ. Did I say we're live? We are. Hey, a Lower Decks unboxing debut, too, and a living legend at Star Trek Vegas. Today on Trekland Tuesdays Live with me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, coming at you right here from the heart of Trekland. Through Portal 47, of course, for the clarity, sanity, and big picture in Star Trek that you deserve. Hey, it is so good to be back with you here Tuesdays. If you are finding your way here, that's amazing. Thank you for joining us today. We're here every Tuesday live and then later on YouTube. We've got a great community. Pop it into the chat here bit by bit by bit. And I don't know how many we're going to lose today. Some people are in transit for Vegas. Some people are already there and might be up in their hotel rooms right now. We'll see what's going on with the community. But I wanted to talk about, now normally I know everybody's global. And yes, I know despite the hassle, it's like San Diego. Not everyone is at Star Trek Vegas. A lot of people would love to be there. A lot of us that are going are wondering what this wacky Bally's one-off year is going to be like. But for everybody at home, you know you're going to be in tune for a lot of news, a lot of live tweeting, an awful lot of social posting by all your friends, as well as CBS Paramount itself. A lot of the companies are going to have news. So it's an exciting weekend, even if you're at home, right? And then 2 more weeks is Star Trek Day, and there'll be a lot of official news coming. There might even be some official news leaking out this weekend. We'll see who opens their mouth and blabs. NDA or no NDA. So yeah, it's kind of the biggest year, the biggest week. It's been probably the biggest year ever for Star Trek, but the one of the biggest weeks, if not the biggest week, despite the new official missions in the spring. Now those are still gearing up, and Star Trek Day, but it's one of the biggest weeks. So I'm going to be there. I'm heading out tomorrow, so I'm a little frantic right now. Also to say that we had a lovely time, a wonderful time, and I survived it. Look how good my voice is still. This last weekend with our Gene Roddenberry 100th anniversary Great Bird Origins tour here around LA. Had a wonderful, and ended up Sunday with Roddenberry. Hopefully you're seeing some of the socials out there from that. So that was a good trip too. But right now, boom, our eyes are on Trek Vegas and what's going to come out of that, whether they're there live or you're following at home. It is an exciting week. And of course, all these events aside, we have Fresh Trek back. And it might be the most surprising Trek of all for a lot of people. We've talked about this before, but Lower Decks, I think, holds the record for swinging the needle on public Trek opinion. People who were dreading comedy, they were dreading animation, they were dreading Family Guy in space or whatever it might have been. Although, no, Seth MacFarlane wasn't responsible. Oh, they were dreading Rick and Morty in space because Mike McMahon is responsible. But it's the same Mike McMahon that wrote the wonderful book Warped, the lost season, 7th, 8th season of Next Generation. But we've all seen how that needle swung. Now people can't get enough. They use up all of their storage time, their server time every month, just trying to keep up with the Easter eggs, the manic Easter eggs. But yeah, Lower Decks is a lot more than the visuals and the coolness and the canon wacky factor. There's a lot of pathos in the plots. And people are realizing that Lower Decks is a way slotted into canon right where it is, right after Nemesis and right before Prodigy. It has a very specific timeline and place, and the longer it's gone on, people have realized that. They are years ahead, but not too many, half dozen or so, ahead of the synth attack on Mars, the Romulus supernova itself, and they're all in that sweet spot post-Dominion War, post-Nemesis. So it's kind of interesting. It's almost like having a series set in the late 40s, early 50s. I don't know, after World War II. But point is that the world has caught on to the secret of Lower Decks. People catch on. And I think it may have inspired as much cosplay as any single other new Star Trek. Maybe even more cosplay than Enterprise. I say that. I know. I love all the blue overall coverall people. And you are much appreciated. And of course, we love Enterprise. I'm just saying, for the show that no one gave any credence to was everyone was so ready to dismiss it. Bang, it's in third season, and people can't wait for the fourth. Plus, people get it that it's a wonderful way to slide in. Hey, we got caught up with Tom Paris. We got caught up with Riker and Troy, 10 years, 15 years, 18 years before we see them in Nemesis, even. I mean, in Picard, in Nepenthe in Picard. And of course, there's more to come on Picard's last final season 3 with the whole TNG reunion going on. My point here is that this is the week that ends the hiatus for all Star Trek. Lower Decks is back this Thursday. I believe our Europeans and our globals are going to get it fresh also the next day, so no drought for Lower Decks. Although I think they're still waiting on season 2 of Short Treks. So I just wanted to start off things to get the excitement going. Now, it's been out there for a while, but hey, to celebrate the coming of Lower Decks season 3, let's do a box opening. Some people only wait for hard media, but here's the box opening for season. Oh, look, I got 2 copies. You know what that means? Sometime in the next few weeks, we're going to be giving away an extra copy of season 2 Lower Decks. So stay tuned for that. I didn't know if I'd been fulfilled or not. But it's an awesome set. It's a Blu-ray. This particular copy is. You could get the steel books if they still have it. But season 2, they're doing an homage to every original series movie poster with the big massive poster. As it says right there, over 1 hour of special features. There's deleted scenes. There's animatics, the rough sketch animation. There are narrations. There's Mike is on here with some commentary tracks. There's 2 or 3 special features. Anyway, it's over 1 hour extra plus the 10 half-hour episodes you get. So, a lot of people, for all the people that say they're not subscribing, they're just going to wait and get the DVD or the Blu-ray, well, there it sits. And for a lot of people who are waiting on the great EMP moment when we lose everything in the cloud and you want your hard media for the stuff you value the most, there you go. There you go. Lower Decks season 2. I think we're figuring out the pattern here in the new streaming era is the last season's, hard set DVD Blu-ray comes out maybe a month before, and this has been available for a while. It's just been so crazy busy. I wanted to save this for the preview week, but they're still out there. In fact, I bet the price has dropped a little bit. I just checked it on Amazon, and it's 28% below list, or 22% below list. So it's still a good time to grab season 2 and get it, have it on your shelf, and enjoy the commentaries and all the bonus features too. There's some how-to making of it. There's a documentary, a bonus feature just on the audio side, which, as you listen, is the thing that will fool you until you go back and listen. Because audio, like any other aspect of any production, live or on screen, if it calls attention to itself, then it's not done its job. So peeling down the layers of the audio tracking, everything from the music to the sound effects to the voices and balancing and all that, is an awesome avenue, another corner of the production that's cool. So the Lower Decks season 2 is out. Hope you can grab a copy and stay tuned because I'm apparently going to give one of these away coming up here in the next few weeks. Alrighty. Lower Decks debuting Thursday across all these stations of the Paramount Plus network. Oh, wait. That's 1970. Everywhere fine apps are sold or given away for free. The app is free. I know your subscription costs. That's that. But it is Vegas week. I'm going to be heading out tomorrow. Now, if you are watching with us, I'm sure everybody been down the chat, and I will catch up to you in the chat. And if you are new to us on Tuesdays, you'll figure out very quickly that if you're on Facebook, that's cool, but you're only going to see the Facebook comments. If you are on Twitch or YouTube, you're going to see everyone's comments, just saying, okay? And if you are watching us later on YouTube, you're not catching any of the original chat because we edit down a short version, just 30 minutes for you. So if you want to experience the full chat, you can go look at the archival on Facebook, which who looks at Facebook for archives? Or you can just try to join us live some week. But of course, either way, if you're watching later on YouTube, feel free to keep adding comments. These things are timeless. They're evergreen. These topics live on forever. So come on, jazz up the YouTube and feel free to pop off when you can. Otherwise, though, I will get back to our live comment track here in just a minute after we finish this topic, and then we take a very micro break and then look at the Parrot Analytics TV streaming rankings, ratings, and then I will full bore get into the chat here, okay? You veterans know what's going to happen. But I'm glad to say, and hey, if you are new to the chat, make sure you introduce yourself, say where you're coming to us from, and if anybody's on the road to Vegas, make sure and let us know if you haven't already. And a lot of folks are already there because heaven knows we need the scouting reports. No one knows where the hell any of them. I mean, we have our rough guesses and we kind of know, but we don't want to settle for that. The lobby bar at Bally's looks to be, so it ain't no masquerade nor iBar. So it'll be good to, now that it's been confirmed. Gary Berman mentioned in an interview that they are definitely going back to the Rio next year. So I'm looking forward to how to split first floor and 26th floor and watch those express elevators get a workout. What we need are some cargoes transporters. That's what we need. But it's something we're going to have. We're going to make the best of it. It's going to be an awesome time. And one of the reasons it's going to be an awesome time is with a wonderful lady that some of you go back with me long enough. You heard about me talk about this in 2017 and 2018. She was over in the States from her longtime home in Australia, even though she was born in Texas, worked in jazz radio, blues radio with her first husband around the Great Lakes, around Detroit, came to LA just in time for, or just after, the Watts riots, or I should say the Watts uprising, because riot, we've come to realize, is a pejorative word, just like the race massacre in Tulsa. Only sadly, this was 40 years later. But because of the uproar out of that, some folks who were progressive, dare I say Lucille Ball, set the course of her entertainment company, Desilu, on the fact of trying to broaden the look of her workforce, both on camera and behind the camera. And that's when one, Andy Richardson, was hired on at the secretarial pool, working the front gate at the Gower Gate at Desilu. And that's where eventually, not only did she buzz people in and out, but she was eventually seen by Gene Kuhn and plucked to be his executive assistant, executive secretary, just as he was coming over to a little show called Star Trek, which is one of the first 2 one-hour dramas that Desilu made. One of the only 3 before it was sold to Paramount. Yes, Mr. Bullethorn, tear down this wall. And Paramount absorbed Desilu. But for that glorious, basically, year, the last half of the first season, the first half of the second season, and all the ships at sea, Andy was Gene Kuhn, Gene L. Kuhn's assistant. Gene L. Kuhn, the enigma who died so soon because he smoked a ton of Temperillos. He loved Temperillos. But he died in 1973, just even after Star Trek, even as he was working on some projects still with Gene. He was the original idea machine with Gene behind Data's forerunner, Quester, and then died before they could finish the project even. But between Star Trek and his time at Universal, Andy was his secretary. Andy was even secretary for Fred Freiberger for about 5 seconds in the 3rd season. What's amazing about her also is that she's still with us. She's a force of nature. She's 80. She's back over for a trip. We tried to get her on the stage. I tried to get her on stage last minute at Vegas, those 4 or 5 years ago. We had her in a small live show here in LA, teamed up with the Improv Generations improv group on a double bill. And that was a glorious night, and we have that recorded and on camera. She's been a guest on Portal 47 twice, once before we had cameras working and once since. But finally, and thanks to the efforts of Nate Hardy out there, we got her over to Vegas. She has an hour on stage. I'm just going to tell everybody listening now. It's late in the day on Friday. It is 5 to 6, last thing in the day. And yes, we overlap the Strange New World's last 15 minutes. And yes, that's on main stage, and we're on the 26th. So I'm just going to say this. As much as I love the Strange New Worlds bunch, you're going to be seeing them around for quite a while. I don't know when we're going to get Andy, or Andrea, her full name, Kindred, her last name, the last few years, since Star Trek days. I don't know when we're going to get Andy back over next. So if I were you, if you're at Vegas, I would say, okay, take a taste of the Strange New cast and crew, see them on stage, but then midway through, make your way upstairs, get on that express elevator, however hectic that's going to be, and come see Andy. It's going to be a magical hour. Now, the other cool thing is, once I find it, is that she is writing her memoirs. Her full memoirs, it's called Code Switch, From Slavery to Star Trek, is going to be out this fall. What she has done special for Trek Vegas, and also to kind of help fund the printing of the book, because she's self-publishing, but she has a professional editor working on it, professional book designer. And what you're going to see is at Vegas, she has a special 250-page hardbound excerpt that she's going to be selling and signing on Friday and on Saturday, and even on Sunday if she needs to stay over. She only has 250 copies. It's about 250 pages with photos, incredible photos, and some that I've shared with the portal and that we had in our live show, and some that are new to live audiences outside the pages of the book. She's got 250 copies of this excerpt from her big book, only for Vegas. If she has a few unsold copies, she's going to leave them behind while she goes back to Australia. But if you're at Vegas, you want to catch Andrea or Andy at her table. It says memoir excerpts from Code Switching, A Family's Voyage from Slavery to the Stars. That's the full name of the big book. This is a short special. She will sign every single one of them. I'm sure she'll be taking tons of selfies as she goes. We want to make sure, and was trying not to be too conservative, trying not to leave her with too many copies. So surely out of a few thousand fans, we're going to sell 250 copies of this book. It's going to be amazing. So it'll be a collectible, because the big book will come out this fall. She's also considering a crowdfunder, if I don't jinx it here, a crowdfunder for an audiobook, because there's nothing like hearing a personal narrative read by the actual person. And again, this life of hers is incredible. Growing up in a historically black town in Texas, being married to a jazz rhythm and blues disc jockey, knowing that industry in the early 60s, then coming to LA, working on Star Trek. At the same time, you are helping plan some of the major civil rights meetings in LA, knowing Medgar Evers before his assassination, knowing Malcolm X, and knowing Dr. Martin Luther King, being Dr. King's driver. It's amazing. She has so many circles of amazement. I almost hate to say, ooh, look at her, she knew Gene Coon for Star Trek, because she has insight on that circle too. So amazing woman, and she's 80, and she is still an amazing, huge, big teddy bear force of nature of a woman. You do not want to miss her. You can find a TED Talk Australia she did about fighting with her mother over her hairstyle, where she slips in a little bit of the hints of the rest of her life from the 60s. That's on YouTube. Just look up Andy Richardson hair TED Talk Australia, and you'll find it. She's going to be there all weekend, or at least Friday, Saturday, and probably Sunday a little too. Her talk is at our panel that I am so thrilled to host again for her. It's going to be on the secondary stage, right, from 5 to 6. Now, The Bally's experience for staging for anybody who's been to Vegas, whether you're going this year or not, but especially those who are there, Bally's has very strict contracts with its union crews. And I am all for 100% for unions. But what that means here is they're very strictly on the clock. The stages, aside from overtime for the Saturday night gala, the stages are basically right at 8 hours. But that's 8 hours with setup time, breakdown time, and a lunch hour during the day. What that means is that each stage is only going to actually have about 5.5 hours of actual stage time. That's the main stage, the secondary stage, and the Roddenberry stage. But that also means that an awful lot of promised panels are not fitting where they were supposed to go, and things have rolled over. It also means that some of the fan panel submissions that were approved have been squeezed out. One of the things that was going to happen on the Roddenberry stage was recording some of my Trek Files podcasts live. Ooh, my God, I've been trying to do this for years, but we can never get the mix of paper and guests and, all that to happen. We finally had it. We're going to record Andy and the great Jeff Mandel, graphics illustrator that I've known by mail since our college days, met it during the Generations movie. Then he came and got to work in the art staffs later on and circled around with the bunch that Dave Blass brought back for Picard season 2. He's going to do, and who I inherited the Star Charts project from. He did the lion's share of the base work. He's going to be out of his cave, and I'm going to hijack the end of his panel in the Q&A session afterwards off stage, a signing and meetup thing on Saturday. But after that, since the Trek Files live session got squeezed off the Roddenberry stage, we're going to record 2 and hopefully 3 episodes each with Andy, and not each, in total. 2 with Andy, 1 with Jeff at my booth. And audience is free to come and watch and still give us a little bit of a live flavor. But we're going to record them at the booth, and we're going to be live. We're going to be live with John Champion doing his voiceovers. We're going to be live with the great Jessica Lynn Verdi doing her little sultry intro that you always hear recorded. I don't know, maybe we'll even have the crackly phonograph music. But we'll edit them, of course, as we need to. But they're all going to be for air later on. They're going to have a live vibe. So, in a way, it's a second chance to come and hear Andy talk also. Aside from maybe hear Jeff talk in ways that he didn't have on his panel. By the way, he's doing 2 panels. I heartily suggest you go make time for him. As usual, in my point of view, some of the people on the secondary stage are the ones who are either rare to hear or people, again, they're Portal 47 material. They're people that you never get to hear otherwise from, and who are making all kinds of contributions to Star Trek. Besides those, those pretty actors who talk well and tell the story, or they perform the story, and they're the face of the series. But aside from that, the people that really make Star Trek. So anyway, I am so excited to, first of all, finally get Andy on stage. And again, thanks to Nate for helping make that happen. Thanks to Gary and Stephanie at Creation and everybody I know I pushed them on a rush last time and they didn't get it. But this time everybody gets it. And we're going to have Andy on stage, hopefully in front of a really good audience, even at 5 o'clock, overlapping the end of Strange New World's main stage panel. But hey, come on up. We have an hour. We have an hour, though. So I hope everybody can make their way up there and catch her. And then come by. Right now, we're estimating those Trek Files live recordings. And of course, they're only about 20 minutes or so. Probably we'll see how we do. They will be, we're saying roughly 2:30 Saturday to let everybody get into place. So for the next hour and a half, we're going to try to record 3 episodes. In the hinky moment, we might lose somebody. We might have to cut it to 2. But there you go. That's our plan. And if you're hearing me, if you're in the sound of my live stream voice, I hope you can make it by No chairs, but hopefully standing for a little bit of time there it'll far be worth it. Far be worth it to see us do our thing live, even if we're not auditorium seats in a stage. Anyway, I am so excited. Of course, tomorrow night I'm going to be guesting at the single travelers and newbies meetup at the lobby bar, so usually at the I bar at the Rio. And then, of course, we got some trivia. We have prizes to give away. They asked me to help come in and do this. We're going to give some trivia and prizes away, some big discount coupons for Star Trek wine. Like $25, I think, $20. Oops, maybe I shouldn't give it away. And then, of course, at 9 to 11, we're going to have the big annual 12th. Our 12th, I say annual. We had 2 weeks, 2 years off. Our 12th edition of the landing party for STLV, co-hosted by Roddenberry Podcast, John Champion, and Trekland and Portal 47, me. And our co-sponsors with Trek Movie and Trek Radio and Geek Nation Tours. Grab bags of prizes for the top 5 finishers. Team trivia, unless you're really arrogant and want to enter by yourself. It's a written sheet. If you've been there before, you know how we do it. But it's a great time. And everybody's in a reunion mood by then. So, boom. It's actually Con Eve. Con starts on Thursday. This is the first year they've cut back to 4 days from the 5. They went to 5 for the 50th and never cut back until now. So we'll see what's happening. Another reason we're feeling crowded on the stage is we lost those opening hours on Wednesday. So much going on. Ben Robinson from ex-Eagle Moss is going to be flittering around somewhere. A lot of 8 ads and a lot of people who aren't totally officially on schedule, but they'll be there hanging out. If the lobby bar becomes the new Masquerade hangout bar or iBar combined, we'll see. Dave Blass, the production designer from Picard season 2 and 3, that I praise to the hilt. He's a great guy. He's helped me with some research documents already. He's going to be paneling in, fitting in. They've just scheduled him a meetup to overlap. I've got the last half hour on the Roddenberry stage. We're going to do our State of the Trek meetup, kind of see where everybody is, let people sound off about them. We only have a half hour this year. So if you're around, you want to see that. I'm probably leaving some things out. Oh, well, of course, Portal 47 will have our live dive meetup for the members only, but at 4 o'clock, and we're still debating the place, we'll have a Trekland briefing party, some door prizes, some discounts, some huge specials, hopefully some special guests drop by and let me tell you about Trekland Treks and Portal 47. Hopefully we'll get some members in, take advantage of some huge, big signing bonuses, get people into the portal as we go down this road. We're mixing more and more of the current creatives in with some of the folks from over the legacy years too. And I'm excited for the portal that way. I'm excited to get these damn pandemics over and get back to touring again. We did okay last weekend. We've got tours coming up for everybody going on the cruise. If people want to do that the day before and the day after, that's coming down, the big announcement. It's been on the page though. And of course, I never have a card handy when I want one. Yeah, I do. Of course, there we go. Boom. Now we're down to those guys. Yep. The West Coast Away mission, 9 days next July. Plenty of time to save up for it. Anyway, we'll be talking about all that. Terrace of Geek Nation Tours will be sitting at part of my table this weekend, he and Christine, so everybody can say hi to Terrace again if it's been a while. Again, it's just going to be crazy. And for everything that I'm doing, everybody else is doing the same amount. For a lot of people, I know for the Trek geeks, it's Dan and Bill, it's their first time back. I'm looking forward to the fan sets party. I'm looking forward to, well, everything. The Voyager documentary donors are having a meetup. I'm going to be there too. And I hear there's like regular con stuff happening also. So it's going to be an incredible time. Most of all, and it'll be a little wacky with the Bally's, but even with all that, I am so thrilled to get this lady, Andy Kindred. I'm so glad to get her on a stage in front of fans. I haven't felt this excited since I got Bob Justman on stage with just 2 or 3 years to go with his time on this earth. but we got him on stage one more time. It was back at the old Grand Slam in Pasadena. But I just said, Gary, Adam, we've got to get Bob on stage one more time and let these fans, our new fans of the TNG era, know who this guy was for the original series, much less the role he had helping kick off the Next Generation, being part of the original brain trust with Gene of the veteran folks. So this is the first time I've done that in a long time, and we tried, and so now that's coming full circle, and we made it. So I'm just so glad to have Andy on stage. But there's going to be an awful lot of folks who have managed to get their way to Vegas. So I can't wait to see Jeff on stage with folks again. It's been probably 10 years or so. He says it's been 30 years since he's been at a real Trek convention, because he was at some Firefly conventions when he did graphics for Firefly and did the blueprints for the Firefly cross sections and the star charts for the Firefly universe. So he says it's been 30 years. It's been since the 25th anniversary Grand Slam here in LA. We'll see. But it's going to be Dave Blass's first big convention as a professional, not as a fan. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So many other folks. The Roddenberry scanning project. I think there's something going on with, I know Darren Doctorman and Mark Altman and just a ton of people besides, all those actor people. So I can't wait. I just want to let everybody know about that. If Andy does not sell out of her excerpt book, then we will figure out something. We'll come up with a plan, and we'll get that out to everybody as painlessly and seamlessly as possible. The big bugaboo is nobody wants to deal with postage. So we'll see what we can do about that, assuming she has anything left over. All right. So I'm excited. And yes, I'm excited also to, down the line sometime, have a copy of this Lower Decks to share with everybody. Meanwhile, remember, Lower Decks is out this way. As if I had to remind you, Lower Decks is back. And yes, the studio for screeners, for reviewers, sent out the first 8 of the 10 out of the gate. So you're going to be seeing a lot of very informed, excited reviewing and vague posting about all things Lower Deck, even as these episodes, unspool week by week. You're going to see a lot of fast action review, memory alpha posts. Everybody coming up with their Easter egg frame grabs have been done for weeks, because that's the way the industry works now. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us today. I can't wait to dive into the chat. I can't wait to see who's already in Vegas that might be joining us right now. But one thing I want to make sure and remind you of is our Patreon is happening. We're going to, after the die down of these crazy summer weeks, the tour over, the Gene tour is over, Trek Vegas will be over, and can't wait to see what we do here. We're going to add a few more dimensions. I've already promised some people some things. We're going to see what happens. So thank you once again, and I invite you to join these folks at my very simple Patreon. Our TTL club, as usual, Diana Hopkins, Lawrence Todd, Keith Rombach, Blaze K, Robin Weiss, and Marie Siegel. I know she's in Vegas. Justin Porteous and Nathaniel Robinson. Sorry there, I went to the Bahamas for a second. Andrew Brzezinski and Pranakasha Productions. And, of course, our live wires, Rusty Harrell, Hubbard Gunn Johnson, Robert McLean, Alan Hoensi, J.R. Poole, Byron Bailey, Dave Gregory, Gay Clevin Lundstrom, and Casey Shafsky. Thanks so much, gang. And if you want to join in, it's $5, $10 a month. Very simple. Patreon.com/Trekland Live. I really appreciate it. We are slowly but surely building up what we're doing here on Trekland Network. All that. Hey, also to say that the Trek Files, I mentioned we're going to do some live. You'll be hearing them soon. But for right now, amidst the insanity, it's a great time to have our hiatus break. We'll be back after Trek Vegas. So in the meantime, you can go listen to the back catalog. It's 8 seasons. The Trek Files on Facebook. That's also where the documents are. Although the audio is everywhere you would catch your podcast. It's hashtag Trek Files on Twitter. And Roddenberrypodcast.com is where you can get all the great Roddenberry podcasts. Hey, I'm around on Twitter at LarryNemechek.com. It's actually Larry's Trekland on YouTube now, where you're watching me. If you are, please like and subscribe. Same thing on Instagram. Same thing on Facebook. And of course, portal47.net. There'll be specials at Vegas. I hope people can take advantage of that. The TeePublic store is up as well. They randomly have sales. They don't tell me. They just pop up there. We try to let you know when the stuff is cheaper, when all our swag is cheaper. We try. So while I batten down the hatches here and get myself into a Vegas type mood and mode, we will see you maybe this weekend, Treklanders. If nothing else, we will see you next Tuesday. All righty. So till then, till whenever we cross paths, we don't know what the hell is happening out there with the germification and the virusiving, but whatever is going on, just stay healthy, okay? Do all the things. Stay woke. Check your sources. We're heading into campaign season. It's going to get weird, if not already. And trek well, everybody. All right. Now, guess what? This has been one of those weeks. Speaking of the Parrot Analytics, I bet you know what I'm going to say next. This has been one of those weeks when nobody updated the weekly top 10, the U.S. weekly top 10, digital only, and then the everything top ranks for the top shows, the way that Parrot Analytics measures it. And for those of you new to Trekland Tuesdays, I'm not shilling for Parrot Analytics. It's a company out of New Zealand that started there 10, 11, 12 years ago. We've been following them since, oh my God, now coming up soon to be 5 years. The 5th anniversary of Discovery is in another few weeks. Did you realize that? Yeah. Of course, 5 years doesn't translate to 5 seasons. Thank you very much, streaming era. But we've been following Parrot ever since that because they try to measure, unlike the Nielsen ratings, which were ad-based terrestrial broadcast. We got to know how much to charge for ad rates. We need a neutral arbiter. Even though those still exist, all these streaming shows, people want to know what's popular, what's not. The companies, the studios, the channels aren't going to let you know unless it's in their interest. So they've come up with this apples to apples way to get a gauge. Yes, it's measuring popularity on the internet, basically, whether it's studio, it's critical, it's fandom buzz, and yeah, negative as well as positive, although they say they have algorithms and whatnot. They do some mathy, sciencey stuff to try to filter that and account for that. They also factor in real numbers when they do have them. Now, they do this in dozens of countries around the world. We just look at the US because it's the easiest one to get a hold of. Usually they do a top 10 every week. They measure shows in factors of their average of the hundreds of series out there across all channels and satellite and terrestrial. They have a factor called times the average show, and that's what they're factoring here. What's the thing to do is even when a Star Trek is not the top 10, which neither animated has ever been in the top 10, but they all manage to stay in the upper 2.4% that they call outstanding. So we've got Lower Decks debuting this week. What's the buzz look like on Lower Decks? Actually, Lower Decks is down at 13.1 time. Now, I know I don't have the top 10 context for you this week. They've skipped another week again. But just to say that the live action shows are up in the 20s and 30s. The animateds are down lower. Is that the natural prejudice against the animated series? I don't know. Of course, things are always hotter when they're pumping out fresh shows. They're always cooler when they're not. We are coming up on the debut. You would think that the buzz would climb a little, and it really hasn't. These are trending lines. They're not just for the week. So over the last 30 days, Lower Decks has been at 13.1 times the level of the average show. That's still in the outstanding upper 2.7%. That's still higher, 97.5% better than any other animated series. Which, I mean, come on, give it up for that. The 30-day trend line is down 0.1%. I'm sure this is all going to climb. I'm sure this is all going to climb. Strange New Worlds here, being out of fresh shows for the moment and being a long ways away, but still enjoying buzz, it's sitting at 21.5. Now, that is down 34% as a 30-day trend line, right? But that's what you'd expect since they had their finale and came down from the high of that. They're still more popular than 98.3% of anything in action adventure, which is interesting because Picard is measured against the sci-fi shows and fantasy genre. But even though it's in a lull and Lower Decks will be climbing for its season premiere, Strange New is still 9 points higher. Then you look at Picard. Picard's 2 points lower, 19.5 times more popular than an average show. It is still in the outstanding bar, that upper 2.7%, 2.7, by the way. It's still higher than Lower Decks, considering Lower Decks is going to the premiere. That's just the prejudice, I think. That's just the standing of live action versus anime. But it's still sitting at 98.3% as popular as any action adventure. And that's Strange New. Picard is at 97% as popular as any other action adventure. That's interesting. They've moved them both to action adventure. Picard's demand actually over 30 days grew 5.6%. Is that all the buzz? Still? Is that still the bump? Now, we'll see who gets a bump out of Star Trek Day in 2 or 3 weeks too. We'll see if anything causes a bump, if there's some brouhaha, even without the official imprimatur, the official licensed show, goodies and whatever. Maybe some actors, some creative will drop a little tease, and that will send tongues a wagging and fingers clicking. We'll see. Who knows? But for right now, in the absence of a top 10 list on either count, sorry guys. Other than that, that's the state of the world prior to Vegas and prior to Star Trek Day, coming up on the 8th, which is basically, it's a Thursday. It'll basically be 10 days or so after the end of Trek Vegas on a Thursday, not a weekend. We can only hope and see. There we go. There we go. Let's see what's going on in the chat, shall we? Anne Marie, turn off your camera and get over here to Bally's. Yes. Hi, Justin. Thanks for being a Patreoner. Yeah, John, sounds like the con is sold out. That's another factor of being at Bally's. The main room, which is the driver, however many tickets there are, the main room and the fire marshal guidelines is a lot smaller than the big room at the Rio. So everything is going to feel, maybe it'll feel like Mission Chicago. I don't know. 2 days until the ELDS begins. Go London Kings. Yeah. Are you catching up with your overlapping dates? Yeah. How's Buck been batting? How's he look in preseason? Okay, Glenn, we're gonna have to just, I'll let you in without a note from your mom. Okay. Good to see everybody. You're watching from the STLV pool. Thank you, Anne. Okay, well, John, I mean, don't let me hold a gun to your head. You never know. It might sneak up on you sometime, just when you least suspect it. Actually, I do have a virtual background that I can use, but no, I'm still north of Burbank right now. I'm sure there isn't a lot of Porthos in the plots. Wacky factor. More like tractor factor. Thank you. Absolutely. 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 Hey, Dan. Hi to you. I demand the fourth season. I've been very good this month. Yeah. The Penthacard. Did I say that? If I didn't, I just did. The third season of Lower Decks is actually the first season of Lower Decks that you've actually enjoyed. Well, there you go. We live in a time of miracles, Dan. Sometime I'll be interested to know what turned for you. That's interesting. Yeah, where no dog has gone before. Good, I'll take it. You would take a season of short treks instead. I know. Hey, Ed. Is this the same Ed I think it is that's a nervous groom? Maybe? You tell me. Oh, Zahir. Great Measure Man throwback there. It sits. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't. It's just when famous dialogue pops into my head, I do it. So if it can be a Measure the Man throwback, then there we are. Well, I think this is the idea, Ed. Only the good thing about Lower Decks Easter eggs is if you don't find them for years, they don't stink. They don't rot. The German market doesn't get a steelbook edition of LDS Season 2, or maybe it's already sold out weeks ago. Maybe you don't get the steelbooks, but maybe it's sold out because it's a limited number. They go fast. I don't get it. I mean, if you're going to collect things, people collect things, and who am I to ever second guess what people collect? So cool. But for me, it's going to sit on the shelf. But hey. Well, hey, Michael, Paramount loves you. You bought the Blu-ray and you bought iTunes, and see which one craps out first. It might be you. How about a Lower Decks short trek? They did do a Picard one. True, but the Picard one was it was before it aired. It was a setup. It was a mood piece. It was to get you mindful of, it was to postulate the whole synth attack on Mars so that the Picard's episodes itself didn't have to carry that weight. And actually what it looks like happened was they still needed something more about the synth attack for the weight of the drama, the stakes. So they added on that whole that second episode throwback to show you what happened that day. That wasn't part of the original. They were going to let the short treks carry that, and they decided no, they needed more. So, but a short treks for short trek. I mean, the short treks for Lower Decks. Shorter treks. That could be something. Yes. Thank you, John. I will definitely do it. Di, you're going to be in and out today. Well, hopefully not better than my signal. There you go, Ed. Renewing your vows. Okay, thank you for the clarifying. At the Sci-Fi Chapel at Bally's. Everyone is invited at 6 p.m. Yes, Trek uniforms are optional. Yes. I kind of helped steer Ed to that time even before we knew the schedule. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the schedule may still not be released. This may be an all-time record. There are chunks of it, though, I think are out there. So what are you saying here, Dan? Since this is the week that many international cinema movie theaters have been showing motion picture DE4K, maybe you can speak a bit about that. Were there scenes you were glad to see change? Anything you would have loved if they changed, but they didn't? Oh, the biggest, I've said this before, the biggest, the whole thing has been recolorized as well as everything else. They just continually honed on the things they couldn't do. And being HD or being 4K versus HD even in 2000. They're sharper. But I really feel like the whole V'ger bowl, the V'ger temple scene at the end, just flows now. It tells a story. You can see color. You can see it's not at the most of the movie, much less that ending scene, is not just a big gray brown blob. You can actually see colors and pieces and details, and the editing has been really highly tuned to where it flows. And there are some emotional tones and beats and moments earlier around Kirk and even later where that whole ending scene just finally makes sense after 50 years, after 40 years, 79, 89, 99, 09, 19. Yeah. After all this time, the ending scene finally is like a climax of the movie and not just, oh, here's the last bit of the movie because it has to have an ending. And I was just blown away watching it in the theater on the big screen the first time at the screening. How much better the ending felt. Then I was also pissed that they fixed the blooper of the switched jackets so that now McCoy does have the green ring and Spock does have the orange ring for their departments in the motion picture. I always loved that blooper. Loved if they'd changed, but they didn't. No, I had the things they did fix even that I wish they'd left. Kind of like if you ever go to the Griffith Observatory in Griffith Park here in Los Angeles, and there's a dome as you walk in, and it's over the focal pendulum, and there's a dome that's kind of a cool acoustical thing. There's one place they cleaned it up when they did the renovation that Leonard donated to for the new theater in the early aughts. And they left one little square, like a 2-inch, 3-inch square of the old dome, so you could see how much better it looked versus how old the other one had gotten over 67 years of dirt and grime and grease. And that's what I wish they had done. I wish they'd left one thing, just one thing. But it's not well, they have the other versions. The other versions are in there. So it's not quite like the toggling on the original series remastered. Technically, you are on the road to Vegas every day when you walk across the street to get the mail. Okay, you just don't win there. Hey, Dave. Hi, Kathleen. Yeah. Thanks, John. I went blank for a second. It's going, the tapes. Yes. If you're talking about Andy, I heartily agree, Linda. Yes, I'm trying to spread the word because I know everyone's going to be wide-eyed over the strange new panel, and of course they would be. But I'm really trying to. I don't want to be morbid, but I keep saying you can see them any year at all kinds of places, at the missions, at Star Trek Day. You can see a lot of those people any years, but Andy's not going to be with us forever. And she's got this, you can hear her talk about bits from her book too, live. Oh, John, I wonder what cool story I told. Okay. They should have, Dan. I'm not in charge of the fulfillment. That's Ryan. But I saw people were getting some of their perks, their donor perks. So I hope this means you did get it. Not that you're still waiting. Hello, Rose. It's always good to see you. Thank you. Yes, it's an MCH to be sure, Anne-Marie. Exactly. Okay, this is what I wondered. There you go. Oh, thank you, Linda. A friend who was in original series, Bailey from the Tholian Web, has never been invited to a con, but is interested. He might want to be a portal guest. Absolutely. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yes. You two need to be there and get 100 of your closest friends. Can you bring the rum and coke? So I have my, yeah, I'll need it by the middle of the day, Saturday. Saturday is going to be a very stacked day. It feels like it's the most active day for me between Jeff's stuff and our Trek files and yeah, yes, and our meetups. The Tupperware party for everything Trekland, and then our meetup. Yes, need to get that out there. We're about to put I'm very soon going to post my own personal schedule. We're working on it because everything is running behind. So everybody, even if you're going to watch at home and wondering when different highlights are, it's behind. It's behind. Okay, there you go, Glenda. You got yours, but you're in the U.S. of A. Sounds like. I mean, I know you are. What are we saying here? Yeah, I saw that. They didn't tell Gates, but of all the conventions I've ever encountered, they're all the most human. Mistakes are made. Um, you're you're living a big pond closer to Hollywood than him, though. Not really, really a little bit, relatively a little bit. Okay, Glenn, because it's just across town for you, Glenn. Now, Jason, my trivia. Now, I have to collaborate on the landing party trivia. Sometimes John and Kayla and that bunch, they get carried away. I do have input. My trivia, I always try to I don't do just absolute like goofball number things. Okay. Aside from 97.835. That's a line that will live in infamy from Doomsday Machine. What's the megatonnage explosions of a Constitution class impulse deck if it's overloaded? But I really try to do multiple choice or give something. If you just stop, take a breath, and think about it, you can probably do a process of elimination and get to it. That's my favorite kind of trivia. It makes you think, but it doesn't punish you for not having an eidetic memory. Okay, especially as we get into 55 years and we have newbies and oldsters and veterans, I should say. So yeah, but hey, people should do their homework anyway before they come to a con. The P-47 interview I did with Andy, extremely eye-opening. Well, cool, very good. I think that's the second one, if you heard it. The one where I couldn't get her to look in her camera. I couldn't get her to put her camera in front of her face. Well, I have the good 1 hour we did here live from 3 cameras, so we'll always have 3 camera Hollywood. But thank you for that. Thank you for that. Spunky and funny is just the tip top of it. Just the tip of the iceberg there. And she's no iceberg. Hey, Stephen, we'll see you there. Travel safe. 8 out of 10. What did I say? What did I say? What about 7 of 9? Okay. I don't even know now what I said. Oh, okay. Get an over-the-air fist bump, please. You mean like boom, like that? Yeah. There we go. Oh. After the second beer, your brain shuts down, and by the time it gets started, I'm usually on beer 3. Well, Glenn, maybe a little more. We're live. Maybe a little more self-restraint. And maybe us not waiting so late to get started. Sometimes we're just running behind. You're on your 54th beer right now. Is that a compliment? I'm going to take that as a compliment, Dan. 54 beers, huh? Is that 47 with interest? Is that what that is? There you go. Safe travels, everyone. Right. Absolutely. You're going to watch the Discovery pilot for the anniversary. 5 years. Right. New Zealand is too laid back to update the parrots every week. Well, I thought they had offices in LA or whatever, so we'll see. You talking to me, JR? Facebook connect with me to stream video of STLV. We'll see. Just announced that Andy Robinson's going to be on the cruise. Yay. Yes. Dr. Anne Meary is our first contact scout at STLV. That she is. She's been at it for a day or two, maybe. A short treks that doesn't focus on the Cerritos maybe features the Packlets or whatever. True, or maybe it's just young Mariner when her mom and dad were young Starfleet officers. What ship would they be on? Where would they be posted? Would they be apart even then? This slightly twisted Portal 47 pin on the collar. This one? It's not twisted. It's right in. Look, it's right in line. See? I mean, yeah. Makes the logo look like a mini Millennium Falcon or Defiant flying past my neck. Whatever floats your boat, Christoph. Yeah, she has been. Yay. The season 1 steelbook for Lower Decks in Germany on the 15th and the UK on the 19th of it. Okay. Lower Decks, season 1. Interesting. Okay. Maybe season 2. Pew. Right. Glenn, you're showing your age there. Portal around the collar. 97.835. Does it even say 97? And then he says 97.835. Could be a typo. Scanning for typos. You load 90 kilotons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. If we were live sport live, you could all drink. Oh, really? You're welcome, Dan. A new Star Trek interview show for YouTube. Okay. Oh, to Galinda, not Dan. Okay. I was going to say, you're usually more up in your geography, with all those little countries. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. What's weird is if it was twisted when you said it first, I didn't touch it. So I guess it found its way back, which that's new. To all those not going to Star Trek Las Vegas, Jordy Walter. Well, of course. Obviously. There's anything on the East Coast, unless I'm a guest, I'm not at. So, and all the things overseas if you're not a guest. So, right. It is a typo. You have had the German market Lower Deck season 1 steelbook. There we go. Are we at the end of the chat? Oh my gosh. Heaven forbid. Am I going to get out of here actually after just an hour? Are we going to do that? Well, I didn't exactly have, the most shocking clickbait headline for you all this week. But I did want to do my part to spread the word, as if it needed any, that you can tell that Lower Decks season 3 is debuting because the Lower Decks second season Blu-ray has been out there for a while. Yay. Don't forget, it's in store on Amazon. An hour of bonus features. All kinds of cool stuff. And then you're waiting for the great internet meltdown when you got your hard media. There you go. Hey, and again, if you are STLV bound, I can't wait to see everybody. We'll have our live dive, our meetup with the Portales who are at Vegas. I think I'm up to 10 so far. Probably some who haven't chimed in. But if you're going to be at Vegas and you want to take advantage of our briefing party and come hear what's all the latest going on in the portal and with Trekland Treks, come by. And of course, if you want to know about the big tour next year, Terrace Cassidy and his wife Christine will be sharing part of my table to talk about the big Geek Nation tour. And that's coming up next July. Everything happening. So much going on. I'm excited to see the guys from Fansets again. Excited to see the folks from Star Trek Wines. I think they're going to be there. It's going to be amazing, awesome. And a lot of people, fans, and a lot of people, guests, and I'm looking at you, Dave Blass, going to be their first time at a big major con, even as a guest. So that's always fun to see people for the first time. A lot of good works are being done on behalf of charities. Hollywood Food Coalition, John Billingsley's Moxie Mojo project is going to have a fundraiser meetup. All kinds of things are going on. So if I'm going to see you then, I'd love to see it. If I do some live streams, and I'm sure I'll do at least one, we'll see some of you then. Yeah. So I'm going to get out of here and just remind everybody that if you are not jumping in, if you're thinking about it, it would be great to have you with us in our Patreon, joining all these fine folks who are helping us. It's very simple to get in. It's at patreon.com. Just find your way over to /Trekland Live. $5 or $10 a month. They do it at the end of the month. So it's getting close. You can still jump in for the August. They take it out. It's painless. And I give you a shout out. And the $10 folks, the live wires, get access to the interviews as soon as we re-engineer that again. Also to say that, yes, the Trek Files are still on hiatus, but you can see the whole 8-season back catalog there, including folks who have left us. The Trek Files on Facebook is where the documents are. And it's just Twitter, the hashtag the Trek Files. Podcast, Roddenberry.com. It's where you can get Mission Log, where you can get Sci-Fi 5. You can get Quoting Gene Roddenberry. You can get the Trek Files, all kinds of shows, and some are new and on the way. Otherwise, I'm here on Twitter at LarryNemechek.com, Larry Nemechek's Trekland on YouTube, where you're watching right now, and Facebook, and Instagram as well. A lot of fun stuff on Instagram. We're putting up videos from the GR100 Trek Tour, the Great Birds Origin Tour from last weekend. So make sure you're on Instagram. A lot of stuff is going up there first. The reels and stories. Always a lot of fun. And of course, if you want to jump in on Portal 47 right now, folks at Vegas are going to get the shot at some specials and some hot specials. But you're welcome to join in anytime with us on the portal. Your minicon all year long, no matter where your center seat is, okay? That's it for me. If we have any news more about remaining copies of her special edition just for Vegas, Andy's special edition From Slavery to Star Trek, if any of the 250 copies are left over, we'll let you know. Hopefully a painless way to get out to you. That's it for me, folks. Hey, listen, if wherever you're doing, if you're just, again, crossing the street, or if you're on your way to and from Vegas, whatever happens, until we see you next, stay healthy out there. Do all the things. Stay woke in all the ways. Check your sources. And Trek well, everybody.